Another day, another dime. Um, Last week was busy, and this week's even more busy. Um, this one will probably be pretty short because there's not too much to really go into details. I can't actually remember what the hell happened at the beginning of last week. Um, but work finally started up. Been doing that. I'm 2 days into an 8 day streak of work. Um, I know some of the guys up there are doing, I think, maybe like 12 days or something. I can't really remember. I got one of my shifts is a night shift with followed up by a morning shift, which is pretty rough because the commute is like an eternity. So I would get home, immediately sleep for like 3 or 4 hours, then I'd have to wake up and then go to work. That's fun. So I'm gonna be really busy with that. But last week though, I think I kind of concluded the housing thing. Well, actually, no. I filled an application out for a I don't know, pretty sweet gig if it goes through. But I did that, and then I actually managed to work out last week at least once. I've only went the one time, but fuck it, at least I went. I really didn't think I was gonna be able to do it at all. This week, I'd be shocked if I even make an attempt. The best days for me to do it would have been today, but I'm hungover, um, or tomorrow morning. So I'll try to see if I can get myself to do that, but not likely. But I'll still try. Which reminds me, I gotta start working on my legs. I just do fucking upper the entire time I'm there. What else we got? So just work going on for like literally all of this week. Last week I actually sat down and started reading into like the DJing stuff, but I really haven't done anything other than like I've gone through the trouble of like downloading some of the apps that I would need to get started, and then again like just reading general purpose stuff. Haven't really been following up with the Japanese stuff. I need to start doing that again. Did more driving stuff. That was interesting. I'm not very good at turning. Um, I'm not gonna lie, it's because like I get to like an intersection, I need to like slow down or stop, and then like hit a little bit of gas, but it's always like, oh, that's too much or too little. I can never get like the right amount, and then you like go to complete your turn. But it's not fluid, and it bothers me so much the fact that I need to like, okay, stop, start up again, but not too much, then stop again, then start again. It's like, motherfucker, I just want to drive straight into the turn. I will keep it straight, no problem. But like, um, although I didn't like my first roundabout, and that was oddly not as easy to get like a good. It was pretty tight though. It wasn't like a full. I guess I don't really know how to explain. It was a really tight roundabout. Very very close like turn on the circle, so it was very awkward. Um, but then she being my driving instructor fucking had me go like just like casually onto the highway and into like a whole thing. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm only like 3 4 hours into like driving ever. It was just why you were putting a lot of faith into me to not just kill someone, dude. Us mainly. You know. Uh, that's been going on, but I won't be able to do that for a hot minute because holidays are coming up. She's booked till like end of January, and now I've got fucking. They got me working like a dog till New Year's, basically. I got a couple of days off before that, and then obviously I'm working for New Year's. Um, what else happened last week? I can't really remember. I guess it kind of was like more of the same old, same old. Oh, you know what? Monday, Tuesday, I kind of crashed. That's unfortunate. It is what it is, though. Okay, well, I guess that summarizes last week. This week, like I said, I just got work, and gonna try to work out and tomorrow morning. But like, I'm not gonna put too much pressure on myself. I need to still like mentally acclimate to whatever the fuck I'm about to deal with. Um, and then when I come back though, I do want to not just like I come home, I shower, I eat, I prep my food for the next day, and then I sleep. I need to like I don't know utilize my time better. Or I'm not really too sure what the issue is, other than the fact that I'm just like pretty exhausted. I get back and it takes me like forever to do everything. Um, uh, I really should look into trying to cook more of a variety of food when I'm at home, though. I'm too cheap to buy like a million different ingredients. I just so easy to rely on one meal and cook it consistently and do all that. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of more of the same old. I'm really just focused on the work aspect of this because it's like it's a lot of shifts back to back, and it's a holiday season. I'm not really thinking too much about the fact that it's another Christmas. I'm spending like alone or whatever. It's like I'll be at work, so it's not the worst. Um, it's I don't know, just a lot of stuff going on at the exact same time. And I'm not talking about work. I'm talking about other things going on. Still got like the housing situation is still like an ongoing thing, even if I'm not actively looking anymore, and I've kind of like put it to the sideline. There's still things happening here physically I have to deal with. Um, I don't know. I feel like I should be more stressed than I actually am, which I think is probably a good thing that I'm not. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to mentally check in right now. I'm kind of out of it. Still a bit too hungover. And of course, we all went out drinking after work last night because as of now, night shifts are open. And I'm feeling this right now because I didn't have to show up for work today in the morning. I'll be there later this afternoon, and I'll be doing a night tonight and then tomorrow night. And then I have a morning shift after that. That's gonna be fun. I'll be in the kitchen that morning too, so I'm probably gonna burn the place down. That'll be interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing I haven't got too much to talk about though. Um, my mind's, I guess, preoccupied with the mundane. Can be a good thing sometimes. I guess I'll segue into that topic. I didn't really have anything planned for the second half. So I guess we can just talk about like, what do you call that? I don't know what we'll just say like mental clarity or just kind of like focus on what's going on in your day to day. But I find myself constantly in need of just something to keep my mind preoccupied, which is unfortunate because I spend so much of my time just doing nothing and thinking and doing all this, daydreaming, whatever. And when I do that, I am trying to like, it's very strange. It's like sometimes it's attempts or like intentional of what I'm trying to think about or what I want to think about or thematics or whatever it may be. It just gets like railroaded very often. I find that it may begin with me in control, but it usually spirals into its own living, breathing narrative or what have you, or obsessing about things that I didn't necessarily want to think about or wasn't like, it just, which is obviously like normal that your brain will just bring up memories or thoughts that you're not actually trying to think about. But I just find it curious when like I don't know, like a session of dissociation begins with me intentionally thinking about XYZ, and then it just kind of like, it's not my brain being like, hey, you remember that time? Hey, remember the time? It becomes more of a again, it's like the thought becomes sentient, uh, and like, so in my mind I've conjured something up, I've kind of shaped it, I've molded it, and then it starts to live and breathe on its own, and then I just bear witness to its not its creation, but its life. Like I just watch it kind of like learn to walk and talk and do all this, and I'm no longer in control, or I just kind of like an observer. um I just find that a bit fascinating. But sorry, I went on a bit of a long ass tangent there. Though the main reason we're discussing this though is that just the kind of notion of like, I spend a lot of my days doing absolutely nothing, and then during that time I just want to distract myself, so I'll intentionally think about things, but then eventually, I kind of find myself back on the places that I'm trying to distract myself from. But also, which I think is really unhealthy, is the things that I'm intentionally trying to think about are like, because I'm so obsessed with the things that I'm trying to distract myself with, inherently they are at the, they're like a base pillar of the thoughts or dreams or whatever have you, of what I'm just trying to distract myself with. So if I'm trying to distract myself from, object A, because obviously there's a negative connotation towards it, then I'm going to take object A and fantasize some sort of something that's object A in a more positive aspect, because in my mind I know that it's going to be something I'm obsessing over or thinking about, blah 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 blah, what have you. And so I feel like subconsciously I want to, or no, you know what it is, subconsciously I tell myself that if I take this aspect and I try to put a positive spin on it, then somehow that's going to like maybe change my state of mind or my mentality around it. But I'm gonna be honest, it's just because I'm so obsessed with object A, I just never want to stop thinking about it. I just don't want to be either like in pain or anguish, or filled with hatred or vitriol, just some sort of negative emotion. Like I really want to think about it, or I want to something relevant to it. I just don't want it to be in the aspect that it is. So I'm like trying to remold my mind about it because I don't want to forget object A or whatever have you. Sorry, I'm just thinking about how funny it is that like I'm trying to generalize this so it can be applied to a multitude of things. But I feel like if anyone's listening to my speech patterns, it's like very obvious what I'm trying to say. But I think it still applies. I think the principle still applies to other aspects. I do think it's not just to like an isolated event. Someone like me on Bumble. Yippee! I can't wait to fucking absolutely obliterate that person's DMs. Yes, I love griefing my love life. It's so fun. How to get blocked, fucking speedrun. Find myself, okay, obsessing over a thing, intentionally wanting to think about that. Okay, so intentionally thinking about that thing because I want to think about that thing because I'm obsessed with said thing, and then trying to manipulate the narrative around that thing so that I can think about it in a positive aspect without being miserable all the time, which is troublesome because inevitably the reason I'm obsessed with it half the time is because of the negative emotions surrounding it. Well, negative. I use that word loosely. I really just mean like not happy. They don't. I guess like certain emotions are just if you sadness or whatever. It's like there's like a healthy degree to it. There's like an unhealthy amount and there's a healthy amount. So I don't want to brand it as being something. Oh, it's terrible. You gotta like. No, it's important to kind of embrace a lot of these emotions, which after if anyone's seen that hour-long video, it kind of discuss the consequences of being emotionally dead inside for years and years and years. But yeah, a lot of time just spent kind of running away from thoughts and doing blah 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 blah, and it's paradoxical, because I want to think about these things, but I don't want to think about them in the way that they're almost intended to be thought about, because that's just the experience around it, and I'm trying to like almost create a false narrative because I just want to keep thinking about them because I love them. And I don't want it to be so miserable, but you can't really change or stop that, and I'm trying to think about it as a means to, it's like I'm thinking about it to distract myself from thinking about it, which is the most absurd thing. And instead of just actively doing something my day to day, I sit there and rot and think about it because it's like I just want to be happy about this aspect because everything else is like irrelevant, doesn't matter because I'm so obsessed with this thing. And then, mind you, once you actually do have like, for example, this week I'm like, I'm pretty like, I got a lot of shit going on. And then thank God I went for drinks yesterday. Fuck me, yesterday. Fuck, working yesterday was like, so fucking stressful. I fucking hated it. It wasn't even that bad of a day, but it's like, fuck me, man. Supervising these niggas. Just like, oh, gotta like coordinate with so many people, and it's like, it's part of the job. I'm doing it. I don't, I just kind of roll with the punches, but like every now and then something so like unbelievably trivial and minuscule happens, and it's just like, why are you the way that you are? Why are you fucking with me? Why are you fucking with me? Like, fuck. It's just, oh my god, you dumbass motherfuckers. Oh my god. Um, but I go there, I show up, I do this, I drink, and it's just like I'm in the moment because I have to be in the moment, and then I'm just freed from all my thoughts during that entire time. But of course, the moment I go, not the drinking thing. The drinking thing, I'm always free because alcohol gives me fucking superpowers. But at work, it's like I'm finally on my break. I go to sit down, and I'm like, oh fuck, I can finally like take a break from working this, and it's like I'm not even physically exhausted. I'm mentally drained or whatnot. It's so I just want to like shut my eyes and chill, and then the thoughts start coming in, and it's like I take a break for 1 second from trying to do things that are productive or active, and the moment I sit down, it's like it's there, it's back, and it just keeps going and going and going. But I'm not in control of it because I didn't instigate it, so now it's like inherently just like pain, full memories and shit, and I can't help but like feel like that reinforces the narrative that I need to like manipulate the narratives around it or whatnot. Um, I don't imagine it's very healthy, but I gotta tell you, when I do, I don't know, fantasize about these things in a more happy means, because I care so inherently about Object A, there's like a genuine sense of like, like a sliver of peace or serenity, and it feels so good. And until inevitably it spirals out of control and becomes just torture on my soul. But for a moment, for a moment, I genuinely believe it could be real, and it it hurts in the best way possible. Hope is dangerous. Oh my god. But yeah, I don't know how many other people out there find themselves in a similar kind of like mental gymnastics kind of way. I feel like what I was saying is a bit more niche. Um, I think in the most generalized sense, we like discussing the notion that like you have all these thoughts running through your head and you find yourself obsessing with them all the time, and you find yourself coddled in like a corner trying to run from them, but that's not helping you, and you will like inevitably keep running in that hamster wheel. You can find yourself needing to distract yourself with things that are going on, but you don't find yourself having the energy to even instigate it, and it just kind of drains you. And in that case, if you are that and you are neat, the answer is quite simple. You honestly just get a job, because it forces you out of your comfort zone, which is very healthy. Um, and you get some cash that you can then use to buy kebab. If you don't, I love kebab and alcohol, but um, the main thing is when you're at work, and again, I guess this is also a bit of a niche example, but in my case, like I don't know, I fucking hate myself, so I don't do anything for myself, and I'm not productive towards my well being because fuck me, I want to suffer, blah 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 blah. But I'm at work, I'm serving other people, I'm serving my employer, I'm serving my coworkers, I'm serving customers and whatnot. It's like the people rely on me, and the pressure is on to not disappoint them or let them down, or so you kind of actually apply yourself and you do the things, and you just find yourself not thinking about it for like a good chunk of the day, and it's pretty good. Um, I wish I could be like that all the time with other things, because for me the solution is very simple. I could just like, oh, I'm having a bad day, let me just go to the gym. I'm having a bad day, let me go, I don't know, something productive. Let me go for a walk. Let me go grocery shop. Let me go fucking drop some money on a massage or some shit. Let me go out with friends and eat. I'd actually need friends to do that, but you know, let's pretend like in a hypothetical world I actually have friends and I go out and I eat with them. You know, it's like now if I, again, in this hypothetical world, I'm still me, but I have those friends. I'm not gonna go out and eat with them because it's like I don't want to spend money and I'm cheap and blah 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 blah. But it's like I just slave away at my job and I earn my wage and I don't do anything with it because I just sometimes I just go to work for the sake of not being at home. Um, and then also the people, the people are pretty great. Um, but yeah, to reiterate, you find yourself kind of being bombarded with all these thoughts. It's good to do things to help distract yourself, even if you're anxious or not really willing to do it. It's, you know, I'm just trying to say like a blanket statement is good to find yourself. It's good to fuck. It's good to run away from them temporarily through these productive means. At a certain point, you will need to address the core problem, but obviously, you need good people in your circle to discuss these things and talk to them and whatnot. Or you can do it with complete strangers. Honestly, I find that to be very helpful sometimes. It helps knowing that this person that you're speaking to isn't really going to judge you that much because you meet them once, or and then that's kind of it. Um, engaging in forums where people are dealing with that, I think, could be helpful because you will find yourself like almost not really caring. You can just dump it all and you're anonymous, and they're just gonna listen, without any real judgment, or they probably will judge at some point. But it's like they have nothing to really gain by lambasting you. They have everything to gain by helping you, though. So that's a helpful option with like more of a permanent solution to addressing these things. But for the short time in the meantime, I know it sucks and it feels terrible, but just like going out and doing these things, it's quite helpful from just getting away from the internals of your own mind. Otherwise, it just kind of keeps pulling you back in. Building off that, I had one other point. Okay, I can't really remember what I was going to say, but yeah, that's a good short-term thing, and then long-term, you obviously want to address these things. I kind of want to discuss like when you are, at your jobs or doing whatever, if you find yourself like still dissociating, these other things. That's like another topic for discussion though. And I don't really have a good answer for that because I still kind of do it. But yeah, do the productive things to help alleviate like short-term burden, and then find good people to be able to talk about your shit with for the long-term solution. I think if you're afraid of pushing people away or losing a friendship, then maybe they're not really your actual friend, because it shouldn't be a problem. So take the risk to lose it all. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. You find yourself in a situation, you're like, I'll use myself for example. I want to go to the gym today because, well, it's healthy and blah, 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 blah. But, or maybe I straight up just want to do it because I'm just trying to run away from my thoughts, but whatever. And now I sit down there and just crippled with, anxiety or fear. And I'm thinking about blah, 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 and all these excuses to stop going. A lot of people, a lot of you may find yourself in a situation similar to this where you're just kind of like obsessing over not going. And what I mean by that, like, oh, I can't believe I'm not going. No, I mean like your mind will intentionally do these things to prevent you from going. It's trying to kind of maintain this status quo, or this like new homeostasis you've concocted for yourself, where you're just like always miserable, or you're always anxious, or you're always like rotting. It wants to kind of maintain this environment. It's familiar and blah 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 blah. And also because more likely than not, you're engaging in some sort of habit that is fucking with your dopamine and shit, and your mind's looking for like a quick release through something that you're doing, whether it be like food, or video games, or TV, or movies, or in my case, doing literally fucking nothing and just dreaming. Uh, yeah, that's my addiction, I guess. Um, but in other cases, it's gonna do everything in its power to make you not want to go and change things, and it's gonna feel so unbelievably impossible to overturn it. I think it's important to remember that that's all the mind really can do, is make you feel like you can't do it or you shouldn't do it. Um, but once you push through that, and it's like it just kind of like it just kind of stops once you're there. I feel like I don't want to go to the gym because I'm gonna be miserable, or whatever. I'm That's not the reasons why. I'm just trying to keep it simple. But then my mind tells me, you don't want to go, you shouldn't go, you can't go, you're going to be miserable, you're going to want to die, blah blah blah. So stay here, and I'll fold. But if I don't fold and I actually show up, I realize at some point I never thought about any of the things that my mind was giving me, like I was obsessing over, and all of it was not true and just a lie. um I guess in a more like detailed scenario, we have myself, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking all these terrible things, but it's going at a million miles per hour and I can't keep up, and I'm just like, yeah, you're right, you're right, I can't go, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, or I can't go, I can't go, I can't go. It's terrible things are gonna happen, blah 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 blah. um Part of this is like, I guess, like OCD as well, but a lot of this I feel like can still apply to other people. um at a certain point, you really gotta pull the brakes on yourself. You gotta check in with yourself and be like, whoa, what is going on? What am I thinking about? Why am I thinking like this? What is happening right now? You gotta like stop and actually listen to what is happening in your own head. You gotta hear the fear and anxiety. You need to like, what is it that you're actually afraid of? Why are you afraid of that? Is there any validity to that? Just kind of address like those things. And if it is a valid concern, give yourself credit for like, it's like good self talk. You need to like say like, that is valid and blah blah blah. Like, sorry, I'm not very good at this. You're right. This is a valid concern. That is a problem or something like that. But and then you kind of you give yourself your hope estimate. You can do this, or I can do this, or it's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world, or I mean, maybe not that. I feel like for some people, it just kind of will downplay it to themselves, and they're gonna feel like, oh, they're trying to do mental gymnastics. But you gotta really give yourself more credit, and I think for some people who are like at the worst, and like again, these things apply to them still, all the stuff that I said. But it's like you find yourself even trying to do that, even trying to pull the brakes is difficult. But give yourself credit for even thinking about trying to pull the brakes, and then give yourself credit for pulling the brakes. Give yourself credit for taking a step back and addressing it and thinking about it, for analyzing the fear and anxiety, for trying to understand why you feel that way, or giving validity, or realizing it's not valid. And at the end of the day, acknowledging the fact that your brain is doing this not because it hates you, it's evil, although it's not sentient. It's trying to protect yourself from something that maybe at one point was valuable, but not anymore. And you don't hate yourself for that. You just kind of have to acknowledge it and humbly request it stops, but at the same time, you are still in this kind of contest of trying to fight over it for control. But you need to understand, like, it's not with ill intent, and it just kind of is what it is for the sake of trying to help and protect you. Um, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was talking about that while thinking about like 5 different things at the same time. I'm just completely like discombobulated. But I think that's okay. I think I said everything that was important to be said. Um, and I think I'll just quickly summarize it, or like end it by saying, don't be too hard on yourself, and give yourself the credit even for the tiny little insignificant things, because it's like, what this that stupid fucking saying of fucking comparison is the thief of joy, some stupid dumb shit. The fuck are these people yapping about? But seriously though, you gotta like understand that every experience in the existence in life is unique. Your circumstances and just like we can talk about like nature versus nurture, but your nature is different and your nurture is different. There's no two, people that are the same. Some people would just have immense mental fortitude, and some people will not. But the fact that you're even still fighting or like trying to improve is, it's proportionally impressive, because their base stats are just higher than yours. Um, you're trying to do like a no hit run, and these fuckers are just going full tank. It is what it is. You're like a one hit, you're glass cannon. That's what I'm just trying to say, like, don't be too hard on yourself. You got to be more realistic. And sometimes some people think they are being realistic, but you're really not. You create these like insane, insurmountable odds subconscious in your head. Again, the whole purpose of that is to just stop you dead in your tracks, because it wants to stay in the same spot. It's familiar and it's comfort, but this is like antithetical to existence in life. You need to allow change and embrace it. You can't be afraid of being afraid, because at that point you're just afraid of living. It's okay to, it's like being scared or, having fear isn't problematic. It's just kind of allowing that to control you. Being brave is understanding why you should be afraid of something, and still kind of like having the courage to go through and do it anyways. You, you just gotta, at some point you need to really sit down and think to yourself, like, has all of this been not just productive but beneficial towards me? Am I any happier doing this than I would have been like doing the very thing I've been so afraid of? And maybe realizing that both of them have their own cons, but only one of them has the benefit of giving you something very real and tangible that you want to hold and keep. And maybe you're afraid of having something to lose, but I don't know, man. After a certain while, it'll take some time, I guess, for some of you, and I hope that none of you ever have to wait so long that you come to these kind of realizations. But it's like you just get so, you just fall so far into such depths that you just kind of like you've surpassed sunk cost fallacy of like, well, I'm this miserable already, I might as well just keep doing. What's the point? You can't ever recover. Just keep going down and down and down. But it's like you push beyond even that. Part of this is realizing it can always get worse. There is no floor. It's an infinite abyss. It can always go further. And so why not just put it all on green? Go all in. Who fucking cares, man? These things don't matter. Don't be too hard on yourself. Kind of wish I could have been more on the tracks for this one. So apologies for that. Bit of a bunch of tangents. I'll try better next time, but no promises. I really do like ranting. I hope this one was a bit more productive and helpful for people, though. And again, thank you for sticking around and listening to my shit. Sorry, there's some fucking shit in my eye. It's just an eyelash. But yeah. I'm not gonna plan these again. I'm just gonna keep like kind of winging them. I am kind of hoping. I'm at the point now where I've become like somewhat more comfortable with uploading these. So at this point, I'm like, okay, now I'm okay with like actually people having seen them, and then commenting on them, and the only reason I really want that is so that people have. Again, I just hope that somebody can bear witness to this and be like, maybe this person has some wisdom to share on this topic, and then I can discuss that topic, and then hopefully I can actually give something productive back. Because again, otherwise I just do the stupid ass journal shit, and it's like that's not too entertaining for me. I think the ranting stuff is what really brings me back every week. Which reminds me, I kind of completely stopped writing in my actual handwritten journal. I haven't done that since like the beginning of the month. A bit saddened by that, but at the same time, it's like I really did need a break from it. But I need to jump back into that Gotta do the Japanese stuff, learn the language and the Japanese stuff, and then I gotta continue with the car stuff, and that's going good. And then I got the DJ stuff. I really, really, really need to get into that. I need a healthy creative output. That's not just writing. Because I have, again, I stopped with the journal stuff, but the documents on my computer and my phone, it's like, what the fuck? It's impressive how much I can put down in such a short amount of time. It's like the only thing I'm actually somewhat decent at is just fucking vomiting text like a motherfucker. Jesus Christ. I've got like 7 different documents. They're not all full fucking like novels, but like every doc, it's like, okay, I've got 7 different pages of like random bullshit, and then on my phone it's like this like, it's like, what the fuck is going on? But yeah, I need to come up with a better way to sign off on these. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate that, and I hope if you're seeing this and you're gonna continue watching shit in the future, I can provide you something beneficial through these. For now, I gotta go upload this. I gotta go deal with my laundry situation and get ready for work. Kind of wean off the rest of this hangover. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week.